Manhattan Bank has been serving the Gallatin Valley since 1905. Started by local farmers in order to help grow the agriculture industry, Manhattan Bank has since grown into a full-service bank serving the entire valley. With branches in Manhattan, Churchill, Three Forks, and Bozeman, you're never far from your local bank.
As banks are consolidating and changing, Manhattan Bank sets themselves apart through consistency and a small-town banking feel. Come see why we have been in the Valley for well over 100 years. Stop by the new building in Bozeman. See Justin Skillman and Tyler Dosher for your business banking and Brad Whitmer for your home loans. Go Cats.
Member FDIC.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. He's your host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we have a dank sponsor in Manhattan Bank, taking care of all your banking needs in the Gallatin County. 4 locations: Bozeman, Churchill, Manhattan, and Three Forks. Woo! We're happy to have them on as our sponsor. Thorny, lots of news to cover tonight. Matt Logie, our new basketball coach, head basketball coach for the men. And the spring game went on this weekend, the Sonny Holland Classic. So we're going to get into it right now.
Yeah, it's honestly probably 2 episodes worth of content, but I don't know. I feel like just kind of cramming it all into one episode. So it's probably going to be a lot longer episode, but we'll try and keep our thoughts succinct.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Well, usually when I say it's going to be shorter, it's longer. So maybe if we say it's going to be a longer episode, maybe we'll tighten it up. And we'll be out of here in 45 minutes.
I had I don't know if it's the pleasure or not, but I listened to the Grizz fan pod over some sort of break I was just on. And
it takes
it
takes an entire spring break to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I assume you're going somewhere with that.
I don't want to go in that. Yeah. That's not the ground I want to cover tonight. Anyways. All right, man. Well, we're here. Thanks for joining us. If you're new to the R&R, I just want to say this. We're just 2 fans. Ryan and I are just 2 dads living out our Bobcat fandom through this podcast since 2018. So thanks for coming along with us on this epic joyride that we call the R&R Catcast. And we tried to piece together just our fan feelings, really, and some thoughts, and hope that you can vicariously live through kind of what we're talking about as fans yourself. So enjoy, and just thanks for joining us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
There it is. All right. Hey, let's talk about what's in their golden coolie first.
Oh, yeah. I have the Anchor Brewing, the Steam Lager? Yeah, Steam Beer from the Anchor Brewery down in San Francisco. And I bought this when we got back because my wife and I took a little birthday trip, my 40th birthday trip a couple weeks ago, just her and I down to San Francisco and visited the whole town, crammed a whole bunch of stuff into basically 2 days. And one of the things we did was we went to the Anchor Brewery down there, and that was pretty cool. And they got good beer, so when I got back, I was happy to see that I could find the Steam Beer up here in Washington, so I grabbed myself one of those. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. It's tasty.
Washington. Nice. What is it? You said it was a lager?
Yeah, it just tastes like just a nice smooth lager, for sure.
Okay. I have a Modelo Negra. My wife went on a beer run, and this is what she came back with. So, cheers to live. Nice.
There you go.
Good, solid choice by my wife.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Nope.
I like how when we did the episode where we talked about Danny Sprinkle leaving, we just plowed right through the beer section we normally do. We just got right into it. We were so fired up to talk about that. I was just chomping at the bit to talk about Sprinkle. Man, my mind has been 100% basketball. It wasn't until today where I started watching the spring game because I couldn't do it on Saturday because I don't have
Yeah.
XWX. So someone finally put it on YouTube, and I started watching some clips and reading Bobcat Nation, and then Vim since '03 or whatever year put out his thoughts on it, and I was like, all right, I'm getting a little amped up for football now, but I still want to talk about basketball. I still want to finish off the final thoughts on basketball. I don't know if we'll do our basketball episode or not. I imagine Matt Logie's staff will be rounded out pretty soon. We'll start seeing some recruiting news, but right now, as far as I know, it's just Matt Logie and then the 6 remaining players. But anyway, I'm excited to talk some basketball and some football tonight.
Well, let's get right into the announcement about Matt Logie. Why don't you take it away there, buddy?
All right. So it was announced, and I don't even have the dates on this. So this is where it comes in. You and I are fans. This could be we could be better organized. We could be better prepared. We do the best we can. We're, like you said, 2 dads who do this for fun. Matt Logie was hired by Leon Costello. It was announced, and he was the head coach previously at a Division III. Is it Whitworth? They're in Spokane, right?
Well, most recently coming from Point Loma in California. But yeah,
well, yes, I was trying to go chronologically. I was trying to ask as I was going. Fully, thank you. He started off at Whitworth in Division III. Then he got hired at Point Loma, a Division II program, and then of course Montana State. And all he has done is win. I think he has like an 82 or 83% winning percentage at those 2 other colleges he was at previously. And before that, I believe he was an assistant coach at Lehigh, which is where he played his college ball. And he was a really good player for Lehigh. I think he was a 1,500 point scorer. Definitely bigger than I was anticipating. I don't know why. When he was in the press conference, sitting up there is like 6'5" or something like that. So he's a pretty tall basketball coach. So you got Vegan, who's probably about the same height, and Matt Logie got a couple just towering coaches at Montana State. But yep. So that was kind of a little synopsis of how that all came down. There was a couple people rumored to be interested in the job. I think it basically came down to Matt Logie and what was his name? Was it something Capco? Was it Corey Capco? A USC assistant, and by USC I mean South Carolina. I mean Southern California. Jeez, I was like, don't say it, and then of course I say Carolina. I'm excited about the hire. Everything I've seen so far, everything I've read. And I listened to his interview with Coulter on Nuanez Now on Friday, I believe it was. I'm impressed with him. I just want to read real quick the statement he released when he was first hired. They put this out on Twitter. Montana State did. It starts and ends with culture. We have prided ourselves in relationship building with student athletes and people in the athletic department and community. That, combined with a sound process and core values that we believe in, are the tenets of success we've enjoyed. When you look at Montana State, the blue-collar, chip-on-the-shoulder approach they've had success with matches my journey in the game. We're excited to pour into the relationships with former and current players. So that was what Matt Logie said when he was hired. And his press conference, he talked a lot about his grandfather, is it Ed Pepples? I'm sorry if I don't have that correct, but kind of a small world, same high school coach, I guess, that Travis DeCure went to or something like that. But overall, I've been impressed with every piece of media I've consumed, every interview I've heard with Matt Logie. What were your thoughts when it was announced that Matt Logie was hired as the next men's coach at Montana State?
I didn't have a take on it. I didn't have a feel on it right away because I didn't really know much about the guy. I had to go read some articles on him, kind of do some, research and mine around for some nuggets here and there. But, as you said, he's just a proven winner everywhere he's gone. And then the thing I really wanted to see was just his press conference. Like, how does he come across on the camera? What's his vibe, essentially? And he impressed me when he actually got in front of the camera over at Montana State. Wrote down one of his quotes and he said, I know that recent days have brought a lot of adversity, uncertainty, and change, but that is often how adversity is disguised. So I think, one of the things I think about him is like, he just seems like a confident guy. Like, he understands the situation he's stepping into. He understands that, Coach Sprinkle was a beloved son, to take a word from Coulter. And that's a tough shoe to fill. But I don't feel like he's trying to be anybody else than he is. He just comes across as a genuine dude. He comes across as a guy who probably is a good teacher. Like, being a teacher, you get just kind of vibe from a guy like, okay, I could see him, like I could see myself trusting him, kind of like a teacher, like a student would want to trust a teacher. I like his tenets he laid out for the program. Two of them being love and trust. Those are big things in my world. And I'm guessing that he's going to bring a little bit more offensive kind of emphasis to the game. So after consuming everything that I've consumed, I'm really happy about the hire.
No, it seems
I have no
like
reservations right now.
Yeah, no, like I know some people on Bobcat Nation were a little bit underwhelmed when the announcement came, but a brief amount of research will tell you like this guy's an up and coming coach. Like it's I told you I wasn't going to do this because you're like, let's not talk about Brad Hughes tonight, but I'm going to talk about Brad Hughes for a minute.
Come on.
Because we hired him after he had I don't think he came straight from there, but he had a really successful head coaching career at the NAIA level at Jamestown College. And then, that just didn't translate once he got over here. But Division III, Division II, there's some concerns, I guess. How does the transfer portal work in those lower divisions? Just the different resources and the different kind of competition. But I think he understands the landscape of college basketball. I think he understands what it takes to win in terms of relationship building and even like understanding that the portal is a thing. Like you're going to have to navigate it. And I think, the portal is Division II, I believe as well. It's like, it's NCAA. So I don't see how it's going to be such a big problem that people were thinking that he doesn't have experience at the Division I transfer portal. I know everyone's just portal. That's the only thing people talk about, but I think he seems like a guy who's going to try and get the players in that can buy into the system and buy into being a person at Montana State and part of the community and part of that family. And I'm hoping he can re-recruit some of the guys in the portal we have now who have not committed anywhere at the moment. But we'll see. It remains to be seen on that. I think it's probably his first order of business because I said this on Bobcat Nation today. If you can somehow convince Raekwon Battle to come back, which is a long shot, don't get me wrong, then you can recruit your roster around Raekwon Battle. I think it kind of changes your philosophy if you have Battle or not. That's just kind of my personal take on that.
Another thing I was going to mention was a couple guys that I talked to in the mornings there's a bunch of social studies teachers I pop into their room once in a while, and just guys. They just like talking sports, and I hadn't been in the room in a while because I've been kind of busy, putting together some stuff. I jump in on Friday morning, and they're like, "Where you been, man? Thought you'd want to talk Logie's talk, man. You guys got a good one." So guys over here, he's like a known quantity in Spokane. It's like, you know about him? They're like, oh, yeah. I mean, this guy was nails at Whitworth. I'm like, okay. And like, according to one of the teachers that I teach with, he's like, yeah, he's an up-and-coming star. He's like, he'll be at Montana State for 2 years. He'll be gone. I don't get that sense, but I could see him being the up-and-coming star.
No, his press conference made mention of stuff that might make you believe that he would be a guy who could stick around, but, money talks. We saw that. Danny Sprinkle was a guy who you thought might stick around, but it's hard when someone wants to quadruple your salary. it's hard to turn that down. Right. So Matt, it's just going to happen at this level, and this is the whole article I wrote about it. If Matt Logie does a very good job at Montana State, enjoy it. It's going to be awesome because he probably won't last if he does a really good job. And there's nothing really wrong with that. It's kind of, you just accept your lot in life. It's kind of how I went through that entire, the denial steps or whatever, the acceptance of where Montana State is in the pecking order of the world. I've accepted it, but I'm excited about the hire. I'm excited to see what he can do in recruiting. That's probably my only real question with Logie is his connections and his recruiting abilities. Division 1 is different than Division 2, is different than Division 3. He's been around the West Coast, so I think he has quite a bit of connections. So we'll just see. We'll see what he can do on the recruiting trail. But I'm excited to start seeing some people come back to the program, because right now, what do we have? Who's left on the roster? We got Patrick McMahon, Tyler Patterson, Carter Ash, Luca Kolsig. I'm sorry if I don't know how to say that your name. Sorry, my apologies. Jed Miller and Sam Lecolot. That's it. Raekwon Battle's in the portal. Darius Brown's in the portal. Nick Gonzalez just signed at Prairie View A&M, maybe? Some school like that, some other Division 1 school down south. Alex Germer signed at a NAIA program. Great Osibor is in the portal currently, and Robert Ford is in the portal currently. So of the guys that are kind of the big names right there, nobody's committed anywhere yet. I saw Darius Brown has a visit scheduled to Minnesota, and the Gophers, and Raekwon Battle has a visit scheduled with West Virginia. And of course, they all have offers from Utah State, or surprisingly, or they've come out with the has heard from, those lists that come out on Twitter. There's like, this player has heard, and there's like 30 schools there. I was like, yeah, no kidding. Great Osibor, Darius Brown, and Raekwon Battle have heard from Utah State. I'm shocked. But there it is.
Does it surprise you?
No, doesn't surprise me, and I wouldn't even be mad if it happened. Like, I'm just kind of expecting it really at this point.
Well, the question I was going to say is, does it surprise you that they haven't just committed to Utah State?
Oh, I guess, yeah, that would be the surprising part, is the fact that it hasn't happened officially yet. Like, Battle's taking some visits. Brown's taking some visits. Brown, I could see maybe not quite being starting caliber in where Utah State wants to be. More of a bench player. I don't think Darius Brown wants to be a bench player. Great Osibor, I don't think is there yet either. I think he would be a guy that would like keep progressing. I don't think he's a guy who comes and starts day one and gets the minutes he's going to get at Montana State, at Utah State. That he definitely won't get those minutes next year. Battle, 100%, would play every single minute of a basketball game if Sprinkle let him. But yeah, I'm a little surprised none of it's happened yet. So now it's worth noting, I guess, that Battle, Osibor, and Ford were all in attendance at Logie's press conference, and Raekwon Battle was sitting in the front row with the rest of the current team. Take that for what it's worth. Extrapolate that if you must, but I don't know how much that really means.
Yeah, right. Excited to get this new season going for him, though.
Yeah, no, he's got some big shoes to fill. Again. Yeah, I expect there has to be expectations need to be tempered for this first year to kind of get his system in and just revamp the roster. But I think there's no reason to think that Logie can't get it rolling here in a couple of years. But yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit of a bumpy road, and we need to be patient as Bobcat fans.
To put a bow on it for myself, I was happy to see just in the press conference, Costello and Waded. It just reminds me that how lucky we are just to have just those two guys. I mean, obviously, Leon, and she's not a guy, whatever, but I'm not going to go down that. Whatever. Cut that.
Nope.
Can I start
Press
over?
on.
That was terrible.
I'm not
Okay.
editing this. Not doing it. Just press on. It wasn't that bad.
Guys.
Move.
Sorry, Waded. Well, it was just a generic term. Anyways, but yeah, it says Montana State fans, we are so lucky to have such good leadership.
Absolutely.
And I guess ultimately that goes back to the very first question. How do you feel? Pretty good, actually. If I have Wadad's endorsement and Leon's endorsement, given what I've seen from Leon, yeah, I'm happy. So welcome, Coach Logie.
Welcome, Coach. Do we want to talk about any reactions we're reading from Twitter from Bobcat Nation? We talked about talking about it. Do we want to talk about it now? Do we want to dive into the thread on Bobcat Nation called "Program Just Got Destroyed"?
I don't think so, man.
Touch that.
Only for the fact that I don't want to name any names, but yes, there was some vast overreactions, as you would expect. It's the internet.
Yeah. This is just, I've said this before a couple times now. This is a different position as fans than we're used to having. We're used to having coaches fired or that they retire or they were forced into retirement. It hurts a little bit more, right? Like you have a beloved coach instead of like a guy like Brian Fish or Brad Hughes who like didn't have any success and eventually had to be let go just due to the performance. We've had a football coach who was very popular and very successful get poached, and then we had a basketball coach who was very popular and successful get poached. It's a different feeling. Ultimately, it means you're in a better spot, obviously, as a program, if you're having coaches hired away to bigger things instead of firing coaches who couldn't get it done. But somehow it's a little more personal, I guess, because everyone's happy to see the coach who was losing go, right? Like, you're all right, good. Now we can get a coach in there to start winning. Problem is, you get that coach in there and starts winning, they're going to go for just different reasons. So I can see the overreactions. It's a very touchy thing. I wrote the article. That was a lot of emotion for me writing it about Sprinkle leaving, but ultimately it's something that I hope we get used to in a sad way because it means we're constantly winning and churning out good coaches. The first cut is the deepest, I guess. Shania Twain? Is that Shania Twain? Somebody.
Sheryl Crow.
Didn't see that coming. Here we are.
Was Jeff Choate the first cut?
I guess he was, but this is a different sport, so it's kind of like one cut on one arm and one cut on the other arm. I don't know. But
oh man, it's so funny. I was just thinking about Choate the other day. I was like, I don't even miss that guy anymore. Like he's just such an afterthought right now.
No,
I love
you get a guy like
Choate, but like I
you
just
get
don't
like
miss him.
Vegan in here, and it's so different in just the way he approaches things, and it's like, yeah, I can see why Choate was popular, but he was not meant to be a long-term coach anywhere because that's just not his shtick.
That could be though. Like, Vegan goes away. Let's say Vegan gets poached, as you put it. We hire Jeff Choate again. How would you feel?
I'm probably fine with it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if we went as far as we would ever go with Jeff Choate or not. If like a semifinal, quarterfinal was Choate's ceiling or not, but hey, we had some fun teams.
I think that's just like the groove that some fans like yourself get into that I just disagree with. Like, you think that there's no like room for improvement. Like Jeff Choate would be the same Jeff Choate that we had. And I just don't think that's true, man. People evolve and change. And I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to bash on you right now, but I'm just saying, like, it could be different.
You applying your own logic to Bobby Houck?
Well, he's proven, like, who he is. Like, he's done the comeback and whatnot. And, you know, Bobby version 2 is less than ideal than Bobby version 1 was. That's for sure.
I mean, I'm just saying that'd be my only question if we brought Jeff Choate back was like, can he like recapture the magic and can he take us? Can he continue what Vegan has built that he built initially, or is he going to take us kind of back to the? I don't know. That'd be my only question about Jeff Choate. But I'd also be concerned Choate would
self-assess,
just bomb away again first opportunity he got. He's like proven he's not particularly a loyal person. I mean, he's been at the longest place he's ever been is like 4 years. And any of his coaching stops in his entire career. So he'll be back for 4 more years, I guess. Fun 4 years.
Yeah. Well. All right. Hey, anything else on the basketball front?
No, I think this is a good transition into football because we're talking about Jeff Choate. So let's go. Right into football.
Oh, man.
With no
one of the biggest
agenda.
Things in. Yeah, well, speaking of Jeff Choate, is like kind of just the thought that came to mind is one of the greatest attributes a human could have, an adult can have, is knowing their weaknesses and being able to, work on those weaknesses. And who knows if Jeff Choate could do that? I don't know if Jeff Choate knows he has any weaknesses, but if he was prowling the Bobcat sidelines again, there would be a lot of happy Bobcat fans.
I tell you, I'd be tuning back into the press conferences a little bit more than I am with vegan.
Oh my gosh. I did not want to talk about Jeff Choate, but here we are. I think that guy's a magnet to conversation. I love it.
It's true.
I wish someday, Thorny, you and I, like 10 years down the road, we just need to talk to that guy on a podcast. Just call him up.
He'd probably do it now.
Yeah, he probably would.
Probably do it now. Why not? Let's get the man, the myth, the legend. Okay. Well, let's talk about Brent Vegan and his squad and the spring game that happened on Saturday. This is on the Holland Classic, kind of the finale of spring ball. I'm going to pass it to you because, as I mentioned earlier when we started this episode, I was much more in tune with basketball pretty much until today. Like, there was some stuff I read on an article from is it Brendan Shaw, whoever penned the article in the Chronicle about some position changes that I'm like, did I know that? And I texted you, like, everyone knows that. Like, dang, I'm so out of the loop on football because I've been like so wrapped up in the Danny Sprinkle, Matt Logie saga that I didn't even pay attention to some stuff. So, what are some big things that have happened to you in the spring? I guess, what are your big stories from the spring?
Oh, that's like a big serve up to me because I got a couple pinned out that we can take some time on.
Do it.
Is that what you want me to do right now? Is just go through some big thoughts?
Yeah.
How about I pick a couple and then we can riff on whatever comes to your mind, all right?
Fantastic.
I thought Milot in general just looks more comfortable just as far as a passer and just a leader. It's clear that he's QB number one, and that guy just has juice just pulsing through him. Like, we are lucky as Montana State Bobcats to have Tommy Milot. And you think about, Chambers coming back as well. Like, you're like thinking that 1-2 punch, and then you start seeing the third quarterbacks behind them, and you're going, I wonder if there's a chance we could run not one, not two, but three quarterbacks out there at the same time. I got some thoughts.
Do it. House right. Do it. Why not? I want to lead so far into this entire quarterbacks-led offense. Get as many quarterbacks in one spot as we can. I want to just go crazy with it. I want MSU to be like the pioneer of a new brand of football that's going to sweep the nation. Starting right here in Bozeman.
I mean, you literally could. You could put Sean Chambers back there, Tommy Milot, and put Chance Wilson on a fly sweep. Because Chance Wilson, the way I saw him move in the spring game, was unlike pretty much any other athlete out there. Once he got in space, he was as fast and as fluid as any ball handler outside maybe Marquis Johnson. So yes, you put three passers back there, three quarterbacks. Your defense's head is spinning, just spinning. So that is something to think about.
Well, there's no
blueprint
on how to stop something like that.
No, there isn't. That's exactly right. And then you run, let's say you run an extra tight end out there. We're going to talk about this too. And this Lanada Jr. Alexander, who is like this huge new receiver we have. He's 6'3", like 210. I mean, they put him at 206.
And he's going to play
He was like 202. Exactly. So what does that do for you? Think about this. If we roll out like a 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends, and then we put Junior lined up in the slot next to them. So you have two tight end blocking with Junior, a big body receiver who's good at blocking and fluid and fast. Like, good luck, right? Like, holy cow. Okay, so Taylor Housewright, there's another storyline for you. Taylor Housewright being back for the third year in a row. When does that happen? Come on. Woo, that is an understated story right there. So yes, we'll talk about the offense. Another thing that looked to me a broad view, defense looked bigger and faster, more comfortable in their roles. But we looked faster in the secondary. We'll talk about the linebackers and safeties and all those guys because there's a whole bunch of mix. But in general, outside of missing quite a few like defensive linemen, like Sebastian Valdez, Zach Black didn't play. I thought the defense looked legit, like faster to the ball. Some new faces in the linebacking core that are quick, like Makeda Riley. That guy is fast, like fast. Got to see, the emergence of some other players that we'll talk about here in a moment. But that was a takeaway from me. Offensive line depth is just straight up impressive. Holy cow. Like coming out of South Dakota State, that was a huge story. Like, hey, how do we get better? Montana State's offensive line. Oh my gosh. We got dudes on top of dudes. Like, remember when we were going to school? Like Coach McIndoe would recruit all these 225 pound, 6'3", 225 pound guys, and they would just like sit there and eat. We don't have any of those dudes anymore because all our recruits are 280, 300 pounds, just mammoths of guys. Like Connor Moore, is that it? Am I saying that right?
I think so, because I'm getting confused with Connor Wood, who went to Mizzou. So it's Connor Moore.
Yeah, so I think it's not Cole Moore. So I'm thinking Cole. Of course, there's not
Cole Sane.
Connor Moore. Yeah, there's Cole Sane. I'm looking through my notes real quick. I'm missing his name for some reason.
Pretty sure it's Connor Moore, down somewhere. Let me double check.
Yeah,
Phil, producer
Connor Moore from Ohio. He is
Ohio.
Oh my gosh, let's do. Yeah, it's he's a. Where's my roster? There it is.
Man,
anyway,
I have a lot of Ohio
I'm
recruits.
To look this guy up. He's a mammoth of a man. He was playing tackle, so we were like shuffling. Connor Moore, there he is, offensive tackle, 6'5", 300 from Millbury, Ohio. I was watching him just stiff arm defensive ends as they were coming around, just just guiding them out of the way with ease. I'm like, whoa, that's different.
So he could be on the roster. Go look at his profile picture. There's the typical guys that you get a lot in the FCS and Montana State. The 6'5", 300-pound guys. They're not uncommon, but you'll go look at them and they got pretty round faces, right? There's some decent body fat involved in being a 300-pounder. This guy, he looks like an Olympic wrestler. He looks cut, man. That's how Sebastian Valdez is too, and that's what makes him so unique. There's not an ounce of body fat on that 280-pound frame from Sebastian Valdez, and that's what makes him so unique. And Connor Moore, just looking at that picture, I can tell that's a different body type than a lot of times you'll see at Montana State, just based on his headshot.
It's got that sharp jawline, man.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful hair too. Wow. Okay, so just the offensive line, the depth, and the fact that we were putting a lot of guys in different places. Like JT Reed was taking snaps at center, which is a good thing to kind of push justice there. There's Cole Sane was taking snaps at center. Rush Reimer was playing guard instead of tackle. So we were shuffling a lot of players around, and I heard, that was kind of an emphasis, getting those guys position versatility. I don't know if that's an Al Johnson thing that he's bringing in. Probably is.
I think it's a Brent Vigen
but
thing.
Definitely noticed man, I just noticed for once, we have such great depth on the offensive line. I think that's just it was our strength last year, and whoever saw that coming, right? But to say that we're going to get even better, that's just scary, man. So just absolutely scary.
Yeah. What I thought they struggled with a little bit in the scrimmage, real quick, to kind of riff on the offensive line. We still have a harder time when we just do a straight, running play. Nothing fancy, no zone read stuff, just a lot turns and hands it off to a running back. That's just kind of not their strong suit yet. That's what kind of killed us at South Dakota State, because we couldn't go sideline to sideline. We had to go north and south, and that still seemed like a little bit of an issue in the spring scrimmage. Or the defense has just gotten that much better. Always hard to tell when you're playing against your own team, but also I also realized the play calling, everything in that was a little vanilla, and also let's be honest. You talk about the defense looking good. They probably gave up 2 touchdowns to Tommy Millott. Who are we kidding? They called a couple sacks that were not anywhere near touching Tommy Millott. So it would have looked a little bit different if Millott didn't have the yellow jersey on. That's all I'm saying.
I think one of them
play calling
was
seemed
like
a little
Ben Seymour catching in quotes Tommy from the back. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, he would have dove and grabbed air is what would have the result of that in real time.
Oh, man.
Ben Seymour played well, man. I'm looking for a nice improvement from Ben Seymour this year, and hopefully it doesn't have to be. I think it was Vim said he had the most snaps played of anybody in the defensive line. Like, he shouldn't have to. There was just no one else behind him. So I think there's some guys that can step up into that role and help out Ben Seymour a little bit, because he's more of a pass rush guy, but he's not an every down defensive end. But he was kind of the only guy we had last year.
So those are my general takeaways from the scrimmage that I saw. Really pleased with what I saw.
Anything else from just the spring in general, or we kind of focusing on the scrimmage at the moment?
Well, we don't get to see anything. I mean, It's not like being advertised. You get to catch like the 406 interviews from like Caden Dowler, Taco Dowler,
Sure.
Danny Yu and all those. And you're like, oh, sweet. That was fun. Hear Coach Vegan talk a little bit about defensive line. All the secondaries in shuffle. We got some new guys back there, emergence of some players. So, yeah, I mean, I want to spend some time talking about the defensive secondary. I think that's a good talking point. But I don't know. It was kind of weird to see a spring game that actually looked like a football game. Like it was, I think the format, they had 3 running quarters and then a full fourth quarter.
Correct.
And it felt very much like a actual football game instead of kind of like a dog and pony show that we used to have.
Yeah, no, I liked the format of it. It gave a good vibe. I think everyone got a lot of reps. I liked kind of the division of the teams, and I liked the fourth quarter being more realistic in terms of clock stoppage. Interesting enough, did you see that the NCAA passed a new rule? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
The rule being that the clock doesn't stop on first downs anymore. Or it might still under 2 minutes or something. Rule. I'm not entirely sure, but for a majority of the game, it's just going to keep running.
Yeah. It's going to take away the comebacks. Not going to have the time. You're not going to have that clock.
Now, so it doesn't happen in the NFL? Is that something that is such a big difference between college and football and NFL that made it so much better to you? Is that the fact that the ball stopped on every single first down? Was it necessary to have it stop every single one?
It's just part of the game, so it's going to take time to get used to, just like the pitching clock in baseball. So,
how is that going, by the way, as a baseball fan, as a guy, me, who doesn't watch baseball? What do you think, Mr. Baseball?
I like it. Yeah, keeps games going. I like it. I always liked it, though. They instituted here in Spokane the last 2 summers or something like that. It makes the games go by a lot faster. One thing I always hated was watching baseball and then seeing the guy step out, adjust both bat and gloves, It's just like 30 seconds in between each pitch. It just drives me nuts. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, just fast pitch this guy. But you can't because he steps out. Does all Hanley Ramirez used to do this. Just drove me nuts. I couldn't watch the guy anymore because he would just take 45 seconds between each pitch doing the same thing and takes a ball. Goes back and does the same thing. It's just like, oh my gosh, this isn't baseball. This is just like showboating in some weird way. I just hated it. So I like it, man. Anyways, we're not here to talk about baseball.
No, I thought I'd give you a little platform to talk it, though, because I know how much you love it.
Don't get me started.
Well, I think
all right.
Interesting to see how that rule plays out, though, in the NCAA.
Yeah. Let's talk about the defense. I want to go through some of the levels. Let's not talk about the defensive line. Some of the big guys were out. Zach Black, Sebastian Valdez were out.
Well, I do want to
I
talk
guess we
about a
could
couple
talk
guys
about the
that
defensive
stood
line.
out. Yeah, a couple guys I thought had good games initially. I thought because I was able to watch it on YouTube and I was able to pause it. I'm like, who is that? Like Logan Fredrickson made a couple nice plays in the beginning of the scrimmage. I think he kind of, I don't know how he did later on. I saw Kenneth Iden make some really good plays. Zach Cruz had a couple good plays at some point too.
Yeah.
I think guys have bulked up. Hunter Parsons, I think, had a pretty good game. I don't think he was anywhere near the weight he needed to be last year, but I think he's listed pretty good now. So I think we're developing depth on the defensive line. I don't see any real stars besides the ones we had last year. And that's that. I think we have 3 legitimate all-conference players on the defensive line, but we need to find like one more like all-conference, like honorable mention type guy. I think is what's
I
really
think
missing
Kenneth
there.
Iden is going to be that guy.
Because Brody Grebe, like he might not get the stats, he might not get the recognition, but I think he is that level. And I think Blake Schmidt is a really good defensive tackle. I think he's borderline underrated, criminally underrated. He plays next to Sebastian Valdez, which maybe makes his job a little bit easier. But man, he was a load, and he had some nice plays in the scrimmage. He's a good player. What is he, a junior?
Yeah, he must be.
Is there anybody that's a senior on that defensive line anywhere? Maybe like Blake Heel or somebody.
Ben Seymour might be.
It's crazy. Like they're so young still, and they're just going to continue to get better. But there's some real talent there, and I think it'll be better than it was last year.
I saw Zach Cruz flash. He just he popped to me. I was like, who's that guy? He's all of his size. I don't know how tall he is. Ben Seymour is a defensive, or Ben Seymour is a senior.
Okay.
I'm looking through real quick. Valdez is a junior. David Alston, he didn't play. He's a senior.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Schmidt's a junior.
I mean, I saw big,
David
huge,
sat
tall,
out.
lanky guy at number 91. Isn't that his number?
Nope, that's Cruz, man. And that's the guy I was talking about. Like, you saw Cruz, he looks like, he's big, tall, lanky. He's like 6'4", probably 230. He's going to put on another 20 pounds. Couple years, man. That guy's going to be just dangerous. But I think the guy that I'm most excited about is Kenneth Iden. I just think he's going to be, he just popped to me last year. He popped in the game to me this spring. I think his ceiling is super high.
I think so too. I think we got so many guys kind of in that same mold. Like Kenneth Iden is a lot like Brody Grebe, but maybe Kenneth Iden doesn't have quite the ceiling in terms of like the mass he can put on it. I think Grebe got pretty big. I'd like to see Iden stay a little bit lighter and a little bit quicker. And I think Zach Cruz is also kind of in that mold a little bit too. He's a little bit taller, but I think he's going to have that kind of year that Grebe had a couple years ago where he comes in situationally and gets some nice stats, but I don't think he's going to be ready to start until at least next year at the earliest. But I'm excited, man. I was concerned about the defensive line in the offseason, but it seems like after watching that scrimmage on Saturday and kind of analyzing the roster, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like Zach Black come back in.
Yeah.
He was on this sideline. He was like in a sling, but not sure what happened there. Haven't heard. So yeah, defensive line. Let's move over to the linebackers. What do you think of like Cole Bullock, the new 41?
He made some plays. Like he didn't look particularly like
Yeah.
sideline to sideline fast necessarily, but he looked like a thumper.
Yeah, huge upper body.
He's
He
a
was,
good
like,
middle linebacker
Huge, like
in the traditional like 4-3. He's a good middle. He's a good
big
Mike.
dude. Who's your splash linebacker play?
So I didn't actually watch a ton of linebackers. Thinking back on this, I thought the guy that I thought made the most plays from when I did pay attention was Danny U.
Yeah. No, I
He had a
was
solid game.
pleased with Danny U.
He chased somebody down. I think it may have been Jared White or something. Had a nice run out to the side, and Danny U was stride for stride with him. And I think White plowed into him and knocked him back a couple yards. But the fact that he was stride for stride and made the tackle showed me like he's got that speed. He's got that dog in him. I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be a good linebacker. And I think he was the one who I think made the most splash plays. But I wasn't really paying much attention to the linebackers for whatever reason.
I was just pretty impressed with McKade O'Reilly, just his sideline to sideline speed. I hadn't seen him play all that much, and he just kind of my eyes kept coming back to him. I was like, man, that guy's making some plays. Also, the way they used, what's his name? Number 23, Aiden Parks.
Aiden Parks. Yeah, flashed. He flashed for me.
Yeah. So they list him as a safety. And so if he's playing safety, he's playing like kind of a box safety, like a strong safety, almost like nickel to me sometimes. I mean, I saw him in coverage. He's a thick dude, like 6 foot, 219. So he doesn't look like a defensive back. He looks more like a linebacker to me.
Yeah.
He had an amazing interception, which was like unreal, but he just seemed to be around the ball. I was like, man, who's number 23? Who's number 23? It's Aiden Parks.
Yeah.
I wrote down a little note in my...
Yeah, that's the sign that a guy is splashing that you don't know, when you just keep seeing a number pop up and you have to like go look it up. And that I did have that happen too. I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, Aiden Parks, all right. Yeah, they got him at 6 foot 219 as a safety. That's a big safety.
Yeah,
he like, it's not a tall safety,
too, and I'm like,
that 220 is a big safety, man.
Yeah, I was like, run support, all right, but he was keeping up in coverage, and so
he's got some burst.
Nice, good on him. Mm-hmm.
Drew Polidor popped.
So let's move on.
We're still talking about we're moving on. Good. Drew Polidor popped. He who did he just crush? It was it Luke Abshire or was it Chance Wilson who ran off to the side and just got like helicoptered?
Yeah. I remember that one. That was a good hit.
He popped. I kept having to look at numbers too, and it's a little confusing. But guys in the secondary, I thought Jackson Harmon had a good game. I thought Kendrick Bailey played pretty well, which was a redemption a little bit for Kendrick Bailey, because he was suspect last year, and I don't anticipate him to push for a starting role, but we saw what happens last year. One guy goes down, someone's got to come up and play safety, and if he can take another step forward, he was out there lighting guys up. He had 2 of the bigger hits in the scrimmage. Like he was playing pretty well. So that was really good to see Kendrick Bailey continue to progress and not like kind of shy away from maybe a subpar year. I'm sure he doesn't think he had a subpar year, maybe, but regardless, it's good to see him making some plays there on Saturday.
I thought Drew Polidor looked better at safety than he did at corner. He just got that size, that 6'2" size. He just looks more like a safety to me.
He's kind of got a wide body.
That Miles Jackson. Yeah. I like Miles Jackson played. I thought he did a really nice job over at corner. I think he could be starting opposite Simeon. And who's another guy that flashed to me? It was Jackson Harmon. But I think, Ort. Yeah, I mean, Ort, I wrote down he's just kind of a field general. That was my note on him. So kind of as expected, he didn't flash. He was just very solid. So I noticed a little Tyson Pottinger. So we're gonna have a log jam at strong safety. We're gonna have Pottinger, Drew Polidor, or Blake Stillwell, who has
don't forget Blake Stillwell,
right?
Yeah, he looked the part too.
Yeah,
so I think
I'm liking our safeties. For sure. I like it, man.
Sorry, we're still having a delay on this. I can still see it. I can still see your mouth moving on the video before I hear the sound. It's making conversation a little tricky, so I apologize. Talking over each other probably more than normal. There's a little bit of a delay still going on here. I'm excited, man. I thought the secondary room looked good. It was so funny because you in particular, before last season started, we're talking about the safeties the secondaries like the deepest, best unit on the team. And then we had we had a guy get hurt. We had a guy transfer. Like things changed real fast before the season even started. I don't remember all the things that happened, but they kind of were not the strongest unit on the field last year. But now that part of it was Rylan Ort's suspension. That's what it was. So Rylan Ort's back, and I don't know. I liked what I saw. I think it's going to be a solid unit.
Yeah,
there's no holes, man. There's no holes anywhere in the defense.
No, that's right. I just think they look better year 2 under Garza's system. So
true.
And this was just spring ball, so they're running base stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
We're taking
But
we're
like it,
parsing
man.
out a lot
They
from a scrimmage.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's flip sides. Let's go over to the offensive side. What did you see?
Montana State is going to be explosive. Montana State is going to be explosive, man. This could be the single best looking offense I've seen at Montana State. I don't see any problems here, man. Like we got two running backs that complement the system well, who can catch the ball out of the backfield, and Jared White and Elijah Elliott. We have really good wide receivers. Christian Anaya looks like he's an up-and-coming star. Lanyata Alexander Jr. looks really good. And Cleveland Thomas was hurt. We know what he can do. I mean, it's a talented wide receiver room. I thought, is it Nick Smith? Noah Smith.
Noah
I
Smith.
thought he looked really good. I thought the wide receivers, man, they look good. It's like a really solid group of wide receivers. And considering what we graduated last year.
We didn't even get to see Ty McCullough.
No, we didn't. And he's going to have to play, unfortunately, because the bad news alert, Taco Dowler rumored to be hurt on Bobcat Nation. I mean, he was hurt. He didn't play. His arm was in a sling. You could see that on TV. Now, the rumor is speculating the severity of that. But I if I had to guess, I don't think he's playing in October at the very least. So some guys are going to step up because Dowler is going to be such a huge piece of it. And that's a bummer. He's not going to get a play. But I think we have plenty of talent to replace that. We can't do exactly what Taco could do, but we have enough guys that can do a lot of the things in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are we good enough to beat South Dakota State? That's what my mind keeps always coming back to.
I keep thinking, like, I have this like fantasy in my head where we come out, Chambers is healthy, Tommy's healthy, our offense is explosive, it's a nice sunny day, there's no snow on the field. It's a competitive game. The Bobcats come out with like 400 yards of offense. I can see it happening. And now maybe I'm just being a completely biased Bobcat fan. Just the condition, like when we had Tommy and Sean at the same time, even in those frozen conditions, we marched down and scored a touchdown. You probably need your full complement of talent to beat a team like South Dakota State. Like it's not an excuse. They're so good. If we lose one of our best players, it's hard to overcome that against a team that is just that damn good. So if we're rolling in there with what we are capable of, and the progress I saw from Tommy Millot, just that brief window on Saturday, he looks, like you said, confident in command. He made some throws over the middle. He looked as fast as he ever has somehow. Like, Tommy Millot's going to tear through the league. Can he stay healthy? Question mark. When he's healthy, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, man.
He needs to learn how to not take so many hits.
Gosh. Let's go back to this 3-quarterback system because that's what I want to see. You're right. Montana State has the opportunity to be cutting edge in athletics, in football. They could run 3 quarterbacks out there. They can put Jordan Reed back there in some sort of diamond formation. They could put Chance Wilson in motion. Man, just get people's heads spinning. Holy smokes. It's unreal.
I want it.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I was like, the biggest surprise to me when I was watching the offense was Lanata Jr. playing in the slot and how big he is. And then I just started thinking about, I was like, oh yeah, we're using him for blocking right there. And then I started thinking of putting 12 personnel, double tight ends on the outside and going, oh, you're going to mess with us? Good luck. Good freaking luck. And I just kept thinking back to the playing the Grizzlies, thinking how we just kicked their ass up and down the field, running the ball straight down their throats. And I was like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
No, and the Bash Bros, the Block Bros, they're still there. Derek Snell and oh my gosh, who am I thinking of? Help me. Was that Trayton Pickering? Yeah, Trayton Pickering. They're coming back. I didn't see either of them play today. They must have been held out, but it doesn't matter. They're
Dude, how good did Elijah Reynolds look?
He looks good, man. He's a freshman.
He's all of. I mean, as far as looking like a tight end, He's a good looking specimen out there.
Yeah, when they threw him the ball for the first time, I was like, who's that receiver? And I realized when you look on the roster, it's a tight end, but he moves. He's more fluid. He's like a athletic looking tight end. Like he's another in the great line of Montana tight ends that come to Montana State, like from the state of Montana.
Yeah,
he's the next one. Give it time. Yeah. We still got Ryan Lonergan up there, and of course Trenton Pickering. It's like the richest that Montana State has at tight end. I love it.
Well, the thing is, like, can we win our schedule? Because our schedule is so stinking brutal, but we have such a good team. Wow. So can't wait to see what comes out of this summer. You know, all the guys sticking around, building chemistry. Man, it's a good time to be a Bobcat. So much fun watching these guys. I was so happy after the game on Thursday. I watched that scrimmage twice, Thorny.
Did you really? Did you record it?
Yeah, I did. Let's talk about specialists real quick.
Got a new one before we talk about the current ones we have. Breaking news tonight. Okay. My gosh, I had it up on Twitter and now I don't. It is Brendan Hall, a kicker/punter transfer from SMU, who is 6'8". That's ridiculous. 6'8", 235 or something. He looks like a tight end out there. He'll probably go play basketball for. Maybe that's why he's coming up here. He's going to be one of those dual guys. When's the last player we had that played basketball and football?
Was it Aaron Rich?
Nope. We had one after that.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't know if he ever played. No, he did play. He. I know he did the camp. I'm trying to think if he actually made it into the season or not. It was Mecklin Davis.
Oh, really?
He was a basketball player for the Cats, and he played a wide receiver after he used his eligibility up in basketball.
Huh.
I remember watching him at the what was the Triangle Classic? He made some plays in Great Falls. I can't remember if he ever actually made the roster for the entire season or not. But yeah, Aaron Rich would be the other one, and everyone wanted Nick Disley to do it, but he never did. People were begging for that. I remember when Nick Disley was playing basketball, like, come play wide receiver, man. But anyway, Brendan Hall, wonder if he can play some hoops. 6'8", 235. There's a debate on Bobcat Nation about, is it a disadvantage if you're that tall to punt because you have to drop the ball farther and it takes you longer to punt the ball?
That's a good point.
Yeah, but you're not dropping it from your head, though. You're still like, your leg's going to go up. I don't know. It can't be more than like a couple inches of difference. By the time that you lower your arm to drop it and your leg comes up, it can't be that big a difference. But I am legitimately curious. Pretty funny.
I want to see a 6'8" punter, man. That's just curious. That just like piques my curiosity. Or a 6'8" place kicker.
Well,
it's just
I bet you,
funny, man.
Weber State wished they had a 6'8" punter last year. Ayo. Maybe we would have caught a couple of those.
Oh, man. Kotzman looked good, man. You know, that's one thing I just want to put out there. Kid from Butte. He looked decent. I think he's got a future for us as a Cat.
Yeah. I think he looked good on field goals. He looked perfectly, like, okay on punting. Like, I think if he came out there and punted, I think he'd be fine. I assume the hope and the intention of signing a guy like Brendan Hall is that he can come in there and be like an all-conference type punter. Like I said, such an important part of football, especially if you're playing that field position battle. It can make it break a game. Yeah. Like having an elite punter is a huge advantage in football. Having an okay punter is fine.
Yeah.
But having a guy who can like flip the field position is huge.
Yeah, that's an understatement for sure. Okay, Thorny man. I'm thinking I don't have much more to say about this. I know we're going to riff about football in the next coming months, but anything you wanted to ask me or talk about?
No, I think we pretty much covered the breadth of it. I know we were still talking about the offense a little bit, and we switched the specialists. I'm trying to think if there's anything we missed. I think we kind of covered everybody. I think we covered everyone pretty in depth. It's crazy the roster or the coaching continuity. Like you mentioned, Taylor Housewright's been there for a few years. Like it's rare, seemingly, in Bobcat land to have this continuity against. I guess we did lose Brian Armstrong, so I guess that is a pretty major one. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good about the staff. I'm feeling good about the roster. It just seems deep. It just seems deeper than it has been at Montana State in some time, and I'm excited to see.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the season start. I have high expectations for this season.
Could take the basketball blinders off now and start opening your eyes to the football world again.
It really took me a while, man. Like I just had no interest in it. Like at spring ball, I'm like, whatever. I'm like paying attention to Danny Sprinkle and is he posting our players and who are we recruiting and who's our next coach going to be? Like I was consumed with that for weeks.
Yeah,
it's over.
I know. You would just light up my phone all day long at work.
Yeah. Yep.
I appreciate it.
What I do?
Because you're like my link now, because since I'm like no social media anymore, so I kind of have to rely on you. And then like, who is it on Bobcat Nation, AF Cat or something, Air Force Cat? Yeah. He does a good job at posting all the social media stuff. So good on him.
Yeah.
Keep doing that, man. You help me out.
It's a good time to mention, we always name, like at the end of the episodes, we drop our links to our socials and stuff. Foley was basically in charge of Instagram, since he's not doing social media anymore. There's been some unread messages. Like I don't go on there very much at all. So unfortunately, it probably means the minimal Instagram account we had going for the R&R CatCast is probably could put on Instagram. So find us on Twitter, find us on Bobcat Nation. Find us on rrcatcast@gmail.com. Do anything else besides Instagram, basically, because it's going to go nowhere.
It's defunct.
It's basically defunct.
I don't
have the capacity to handle all three social medias. That was like your one promotional thing you're supposed to do, fully.
I know. Fly your flag, people. Keep flying them.
Yeah,
if you really want to text me pictures, maybe you can text me some pictures, but yeah, I'm just not in the social media world right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back, but to be truthful, Thorny, I don't miss social media at all. I that's not true. There's like 10% of me that's like wishes like I could just distill everything down to just Bobcat news and not have anything else. Just if you could find me a way where I could just have Bobcat news and there was no outside influence of anything else, I'd probably sign up for that. But the crazies out there, done with it, man. You're out.
It is funny to see the accounts that you did follow as the moderator of the Instagram account on our CatCast. So for some reason, we follow the Cincinnati Bengals. I wonder why. We follow Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know how that happened.
What? Jeez.
Over there complaining that you don't only get Bobcat content on your timeline and then you follow like a bunch of non-Bobcat related accounts. What do you expect to happen?
All right. Any new stuff. It was just like, yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's get out.
We are tail spinning here at the end, at the hour mark, roughly an hour and 5 minutes. We did it. We kept it right around an hour, talking about a coaching change, the men's basketball, and an entire spring's worth of news and discussion on the football team. So we did good, I think. We did pretty good here. This could have been bigger. That's what she said. Sorry. Okay. Anything else you want to add here before we get out of
here? I apologize again to Waded Cruzado for calling you a dude. And
a guy is a
guy,
not accepted necessarily, but a pretty common thing where people just address a group of people and call them all guys. That's an American thing we do here in America. What's up, guys?
Sorry, Waded. We would love to talk to you someday too. Huge fan.
Yes, that'd be entertaining.
Those are facts. That'd be fun. All
All
right.
right.
Hey, let's get out of here. Good job, Leon. Go coach Logie. Go coach Vegan. We love you. And can't wait to watch more meaningful Bobcat athletics in probably 4 or 5 months. We get to do it. So it's going to be a while.
You were doing so good there. I'm like, I'm not going to even do my outro because he's doing so good. And then you kind of just fizzled off with see you in a while. So now I will do the regular outro that we do. You can always find us on rrcatcast.com. You can find us on Twitter, rrcatcast. You can find us on Instagram, but no one's going to talk to you. You can find us on Bobcat Nation. I am Celtic Cat. He is Common Cat. I don't know if we've said that a few times here and there. Email us at rrcatcast@gmail.com. We're open. We like to talk with people who listen to the show. We like to talk with other Bobcat fans, even if you don't listen to the show. I don't know how you would you would not be getting this information right now if you didn't listen to the show. Man, this is good stuff. This is good content. Let's get out of here, Foley. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.